Part 69. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 681. Zhang Chen walked to the distribution center and hugged Zhang Xiangbei from Xiao Zhao's hand. Xiao Zhao asked, had he talked to Wei Wenfang? Zhang Chen said yes, he had also talked with Xiaoli, and she would go. Xiao Zhao understood and said nothing more. Zhang Chen wanted to ask Xiao Zhao, did you know anything in advance? After thinking about it for a while, he didn't ask. Instead, he told Zhang Xiangbei, let's go for a walk on the country road. Xiao Zhao watched Zhang Chen and the others go out. What she didn't tell Zhang Chen was that Kaidi told her that she always heard Wei Wenfang discussing with Wu Zayawai about starting a business or something. Whenever she had time, she would go 4 Seasons Green Run. Kaidi reminds Xiao Zhao, do they also want to open a store in Sijiking and then imitate our models? Xiao Zhao feels that the least thing these two people have to worry about is this. Wu Zayawai will not do it, and Wei Wenfang does not bother to do it. She is not the kind of person who likes to imitate others. She thinks a lot and is thoughtful, but the heart is also high. Now, for them, the thing they are least afraid of is the imitation. Sijiking may have a lot of imitations now, but they will not worry about it because they are taking 2 roads now. They are 2 markets, and they rely on customers' brand trust. What's more, the styles of clothing are updated every day. It doesn't mean that just because you have worked here, you can know everything. Ge Donghai and Xiao Li went to Shanghai. Ge Donghai and his old acquaintances expressed their intention to enter the market again. At the same time, they emphasized that the current company was no longer the original Kuning garment factory. He invited them to come first. Hang Cheng took a look before making a decision. Several shopping malls on the other side happily accepted the invitation. After agreeing on a time, Zhang Chen asked Wang Haniao for help. Xiaoli took him and Wu Zayawai's 2 Ivkos to Shanghai to pick up the clothing department managers. The first stop was to their Yan'an Road store, Ge Donghai. Wait for them here. When Ge Ling came to report, Xiao Zhao arranged for her to follow Xiao Wan on the 2nd floor. The 2nd floor was for their own agents. These people usually came in the morning and went back in the afternoon. At 4 o'clock, there are no customers on the 2nd floor. Ge Ling can get off work and go home on time at 5 o'clock every day, so that she doesn't have to go home to take care of Ge Donghai's dinner. Ge Donghai introduced Ge Ling to his old friends. Ge Ling snuggled up to Ge Donghai obediently, calling each other uncle, aunt, brother, and sister. Everyone was very happy. Although these people who came here were all clothing department managers from major shopping malls, they were still surprised when they saw Zhang Chen's store. They were very interested in their products and the store's business philosophy and methods. Then they went to Kuning Garment Factory and saw that it was very different from when they came here in the early days. Then they went to Sanbeo and were convinced of the strength of Zhang Chen and the others. By the time they had dinner at the building outside the building, they were already okay. Tell Zhang Chen and Ge Donghai to enter the market on October 1st. Xiaoli sent them back to Shanghai. When she returned to Hangzhou, she brought back the contracts for each shopping mall. There is still 1 month left, and this month is enough for Zhang Chen and the others to be busy. They have to go see the venue and decorate. The decoration in the mall is much simpler than that of the store, mainly the shelves, but there are so many stores. Come out. Also need to stock up. For Xiaoli, things are even more complicated. She will return to Shanghai immediately with the contract stamped by the company. In Shanghai, she must first find their company's distribution warehouse. All goods sent to various shopping malls must be sent it to this warehouse first and then distribute it. It is impossible to send it directly to every shopping mall, as that would be a mess. After finding the warehouse, they still needed to recruit salespeople and train them. Wei Wenfang took the initiative to tell Zhang Chen that she should help Xiaoli because there were too many things. Zhang Chen agreed, and he sent Zheng Huiyang over at the same time. He felt that Xiaoli needed her warehouse management more. The people who should set off have already set off, and after Zhang Chen has arranged the things that need to be prepared, he will immediately do a very important thing, which is to go see Meng Ping. Su Li called and told Zhang Chen that Meng Ping has been assigned to the third prison of Lohukiao prison. She has made an agreement with the prison that as long as it is not Sunday, Zhang Chen and the others can go there any day. Mr. Zhang, you can go one day in advance. Call me and I will ask my friend not to arrange anything else that day and to accompany us. Zhang Chen couldn't wait and immediately told Su Li that we would come early tomorrow morning and arrive in Nanjing at 8 or 9 in the morning. Zhang Chen immediately told Xiao Zhao the news. He Hongmei heard it from the side and shouted, "I will send you there." Considering that when they arrived in Nanjing, they had to pick up Su Li and her friends. Xiao Li couldn't sit down, so he Hongmei had to change cars with Wu Zayawai. Wu Zayawai said he wouldn't change, and I also wanted to see Lao Meng. Wu Zayawai and Lao Wan said that you would just use a tricycle to work hard for a day, and Lao Wan agreed. Wu Zayawai had walked this road from Hangzhou to Nanjing. He told them that it would take more than 7 hours to drive. He Hongmei cursed, "That's you. It's more than 300 kilometers and takes more than 7 hours to drive. Are you a snail? The road is not easy to walk on." When we approach Nanjing, it is all mountainous, Wu Zayawai shouted. "It's so difficult to walk. Is it more difficult than our road in Sichuan? Our road is Shu Road. Do you understand what Shu Road is?" He. "What the hell?" Wu Zayawai was confused by her. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao laughed, and he Hongmei proudly shouted at Wu Zayawai, "Ugh! Ugh!" Even so, they still left extra time, had a late-night snack in the factory, and set off at around 12 o'clock. They preferred to arrive in Nanjing earlier and wait in Nanjing. Anyway, there were two drivers, Wu Zayawai and he Hongmei, on the road, so they could take turns. "Don't be afraid if you drive." They planned to go back and forth in one day. We arrived in Nanjing before 6 o'clock. Zhang Chen and Wu Zayawai told them to drive to Wangfu Street and park directly in front of our store, where we would continue to sleep. They arrived at Wangfu Street, drove up the sidewalk, and stopped at the entrance of Ban Mu Tian Nanjing store. Zhang Chen agreed that everyone should take a rest first or go have breakfast. There was a delicious skin belly noodle restaurant over here. I ate it last time I came here, Wu Zayawai told them. Xiao Zhao wanted to breastfeed Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Chen and Wu Zayawai said, "You and he Hongmei go over first and light up ours too, we will come right away." He Hongmei waved her hand, "You go, I'll accompany Sister Xiao Zhao." Zhang Chen and Wu Zayawai walked back more than 10 meters and arrived at the entrance of an alley. There was a noodle shop with the words "Pigeon Noodles" written on the door. The shop was already full. When they arrived, there were just a few people at the door. A table stood up, and Wu Zayawai quickly grabbed it before the waiter even had time to collect the bowls and chopsticks on the table. Zhang Chen asked Wu Zayawai what he wanted to eat. Wu Zayawai said 3 delicacies. Zhang Chen walked in and ordered 2 bowls of 3 delicacies noodles and 2 bowls of fat intestine noodles. Someone came over and asked to sit across from Wu Kawai. Wu Kawai said, "There is someone." The man refused to sit down and wanted to take away a stool next to him. Wu Zayawai said, "Don't move, there are 4 of us." The man rolled his eyes at Wu Zayawai, who glared at him. Zhang Chen came back and sat down. After a while, Xiao Zhao came over with Zhang Xiangbei and he Hongmei in his arms. Zhang Chen took Zhang Xiangbei over. As soon as the two sat down, 2 bowls of 3 fresh noodles came up. Wu Zayawai took them over. "1 bowl," Zhang Chen and he Hongmei said, "and the other bowl is yours." "Do you want spicy oil?" the waiter asked. He Hongmei said yes. The waiter walked away and brought hot sauce. He Hongmei added a lot of hot sauce, mixed it with chopsticks, and was about to eat. Another waiter came over with 2 bowls of fat sausage noodles. When Hung Mei saw it, she quickly pushed the 3 fresh noodles in front of Zhang Chen and shouted, "I want fat intestine noodles." After the 4 of them finished eating the noodles, they returned to the car. It was already 7:30. Zhang Chen saw a small shop nearby. There was a phone in the shop. Zhang Chen walked over, detained Su Li, and waited for more than 10 minutes. Without waiting for a call back, I saw Su Li arriving on a bicycle and shouted from afar. "I knew it was you who arrived." When Xiao Zhao got off the car, Su Li hugged her affectionately and teased Zhang Xiangbei with her fingers. Then she walked over and opened the rolling shutter door of the specialty store, but only half of it. She told Zhang Chen and the others, the salesperson didn't arrive until 9 o'clock, they didn't open the door until 9 in the morning, she urged them to go in. The 4 of them arrived at the store. Su Li immediately put the phone on speakerphone and pressed a series of numbers. The phone rang for a long time before she was picked up. A sleepy voice asked, "Which one?" "Wu, I've been waiting for you for 5 hours," Su Li scolded. "I'll be there soon," the phone said. Su Li hung up the phone and saw Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao looking at her. She knew they were wondering why they had to tell each other that they had been waiting for 5 hours. Su Li smiled and said, "It's just a little trick." Zhang Chen didn't understand what he was talking about. He probably meant that the other party was dawdling. They sat there and waited for more than 20 minutes. Su Li hung up the phone again. The other party picked up and said, "I'll be there soon." Su Li made a call every 4 or 5 minutes. On the 4th call, the other party said, "They've already gone downstairs." Su Li was extremely angry and cursed, "Stupid, can you still answer the phone after going downstairs?" The other party laughed on the phone. "It seems that this guy is really stubborn, but he also has a good temper. No matter how much you urge or scold him, he is not anxious or annoyed at all." Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao were confused. Could this guy be reliable? Don't drive half the night and finally arrive, just take a day trip to see the outside of the prison from a distance. Su Li seemed to see what they were thinking, and told them that this small pole was just for dumping materials, and when the people arrived, they would still come to trouble. Su Li then called again, but no one answered after calling for a long time. Su Li breathed a sigh of relief and told them that she was really here. By 9 o'clock, Su Li's salespersons had already arrived. Su Li cursed at the salesperson in Nanjing dialect, all targeting that guy. The salespersons all nodded and said, "Yeah, that's wrong." While they were cursing, a handsome young man wearing a red t-shirt walked in and smiled when he looked at them. Su Li cursed, "You're dragging me to death." The man chuckled and said, "What's the matter? Will you be here soon?" Su Li introduced them to each other. Only then did Zhang Chen know that the other person's name was Li Yang. When Li Yang arrived, the impression he gave was completely different from that on the phone. It was exactly what Su Li said. It was very refreshing. Lisuo, without saying a few words, he told them to leave. Su Li asked him if he wanted to make a call first. He asked Su Li, "What to call?" Su Li suddenly lost her mind and asked, "Do you really know the 3rd prisoner of Lohukiao that well?" As soon as Li Yang opened his mouth, everyone laughed, and he said, "I've been there." No wonder, he is cooked from the outside to the inside. Thank you Xiao Wang and Tianying 1978 for your monthly votes. Thank you for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 682. Zhang Chen and the others arrived in Nanjing and waited for Li Yang for more than 2 hours before getting in the car. Unexpectedly, it only took 10 minutes to drive from Su Li's Nanjing store on half an acre of land to the Lohukiao prison at number 32 Lohukiao. The prison is located in Nanjing City, very close. Lohyukiao Prison was built during the Guangxu period of the Qing dynasty and was called Jiangning Criminal Training Center. It was renamed Jiangsu No. 1 Prison during the Beiyang period. After the victory of the anti-Japanese war, it was renamed Capital Prison. After 1949, it was renamed Jiangsu Province No. 1 Prison, also called Nanjing Prison, and ordinary Nanjing citizens are accustomed to calling it Lohyukiao Prison, or simply Lohyukiao. If two people quarrel and one scolds the other, you will have to go to Lohyukiao sooner or later, which means that you will go to jail sooner or later. This is just like the Hangzhou people cursing others and burning them to Longzhou. That means you will go to Longzhou quickly. Hangcheng Crematorium in Wu. Every city seems to have some place names with special meanings. Most of the houses in Lohyukiao Prison are old ones from the Republic of China period, and there are also a few buildings built in the 1960s and 1970s. There have been talks of demolition in the past few years, but they have not been demolished. Probably because of this, no new buildings have been built. Su Li was waiting for them in the car outside the door. Li Yang took them in. When they arrived at the door, Li Yang told the armed police on duty that they were going to the third prison and the warden's office. They were in the armed police duty room at the door. They all took out their ID cards and registered. The armed policeman looked at Zhang Xiangbei in Xiao Zhao's hand, probably wondering why he brought the child here. Zhang Xiangbei looked at the armed policeman, laughed, and reached out to grab his red five-pointed star. Xiao Zhao hurriedly hugged him away and smiled apologetically at the armed policeman, who also smiled. The warden's office was in an old house made of dark gray bricks. There was a long corridor at the door, and next to it were a conference room and the prison guards' offices. Li Yang took them in and met several prison guards along the way. They all seemed to know him. They walked into the warden's office. When the warden saw them, he stood up, looked at Li Yang and asked, "Back?" Zhang Chen and the others all laughed. It seemed that this guy was not lying. He had indeed been in prison here. The warden was stunned for a moment when he heard their laughter. Then he understood what they were laughing at and started laughing too. He reached out and patted Li Yang on the shoulder and walked out, saying as he walked, "You friends, there are still many people coming to see him, and he has a wide range of connections." After a while, the warden came back, followed by Meng Ping, who was wearing prison uniform and handcuffed, and a prison guard who was escorting him. Meng Ping was surprised when he saw them and shouted, "Zhang Chen, Xiao Zhao, why are you here?" As soon as Xiao Zhao saw him, tears rolled down his face, and Hung Mei's eyes also turned red. After the prison guard brought the person in, he untied Meng Ping's handcuffs and went out. Li Yang pointed to the set of wooden sofas in the office and said to Zhang Chen, "You sit down, you can drink water and pour it yourself if you have something to talk to, our boss." He walked over and put his arm around the warden's shoulders, and the two of them walked out. Meng Ping looked at Zhang Xiangbei and said to Xiao Zhao, "Why did you bring him here? It's not good for you to come here, kid." Xiao Zhao shook his head and said, "Of course I will bring him. Wherever you go, you will always be his uncle." Meng Ping saw Wu Zaiwai, but not Lu Ligan. Meng Ping asked, "Where's the Pole? The Pole didn't come with you." "Xiao Wu, how is your company?" Several people were silent for a moment. Meng Ping frowned. Knowing that something was wrong, he asked, "Zhang Chen, what happened to the Pole?" "What happened?" Zhang Chen told Meng Ping about Lu Ligan. After hearing this, Meng Ping couldn't help but shook his head. He said, "Beijing would do this. I had thought of it a long time ago. When disaster strikes, we all fly away. It's normal, but it's just not. I dared to tell Zhuangzi, but I didn't expect that they would do it so brilliantly. They would throw Zhuangzi naked onto the killing battlefield without leaving a way for him to retreat. It's not surprising that the company can't survive. Even those bad guys would come to the door. It's also something that can be expected. How could the police take the pole away? I don't understand. It seems impossible. The pole is nothing like the police. Above. Zhang Chen nodded and said, we think so too. Meng Ping comforted them in turn. He said it was okay. He was taken away by the police, but he was safe. Look, isn't it good to be like me? Meng Ping laughed as he spoke. Xiao Zhao scolded, you still said yes. Meng Ping smiled and said, it's really good. I can eat well and sleep well. In the past few years, it is still the most relaxed now. There is no pressure every day. Do you think I have gained weight? The others laughed, but this smile was bitter. By the way, Zhang Chen, you know this place. Who has been imprisoned here before? Meng Ping asked. Zhang Chen shook his head. C is the only show, Meng Ping said with a smile. There is also Zhou Ziren, Lu Sun's younger brother. After the victory of the anti-Japanese war, he was imprisoned as a traitor. Oh, sometimes I wonder, what will happen to my room? It can't be the place where Si Duxiu and Zhou Ziren lived. Meng Ping, are you really adaptable here? Zhang Chen couldn't help but ask again. I'm really getting used to it, Zhang Chen. After living here, my friends really helped me choose a place, Meng Ping said. Do you know who is in our room? Zhang Chen shook his head. There is an old leader of mine, a president of a bank, a professor from Nanjing University, and 2 CEOs of large companies, and some of them are also from the government. Haha, there are really no idle people in their dealings, and they are all great scholars when talking and laughing, Meng Ping said with a smile. No matter what status we had before, we are all equal here, and we can really talk to each other from the bottom of our hearts. Really, Zhang Chen, I only know now that this prison is really a good school. You can learn a lot of things from others that you didn't understand before. People are sincerely willing to teach you. Even if they don't teach you, they will nothing else, haha. Zhang Chen felt that at least Meng Ping's smile was real. Of course he was exaggerating when he said it was good here. But seeing Meng Ping's condition, it seemed that it was better than they originally expected. It made people feel a little better. Feel relieved. By the way, how are you doing now? Meng Ping asked Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao. Zhang Chen roughly told Meng Ping about his current situation. Meng Ping kept nodding his head and said, it's better for you to stay down to earth like this. By the way, Jian Fang and the others were here the day before yesterday. Meng Ping remembered it and told them. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao were surprised, and Xiao Zhao asked, are they in Nanjing too? Yes, 4 of them are here. No, it's 5 of them, and Yuan. You may not know that I didn't surrender. I was escorted from Haikan to Wuxi by them. Meng Ping laughed, then I followed them here from Wuxi again. You don't know these people. They came just the day before yesterday when I could be visited in prison. I don't know where they got their skills from. Their skills were not all taught by you, Lao Mang, Zhang Chen said. Haha, Jian Fang also told me yesterday that our company is still there, and no one from the company has left. Wherever we go, the company will be there, Meng Ping said with a smile, but later, he felt a little sad. Lao Mang, do you know how to find them? Xiao Zhao asked urgently. Jian Fang and Su Jiaking have returned to the mainland and they haven't called us. We still can't find them. You don't know them yet. When they want to call you, they must have done what they want to do. I don't have their contact information. I'm here. It's useless if they give it to me, haha. However, they told me that they would open a shop selling duck blood vermicelli, wontons, and steamed buns, and they also talked about you and said that they would also open a chain store. Meng Ping looked at them and continued to smile. If you come to Nanjing again and see any duck blood vermicelli chain stores, go in and take a look. Maybe they are the ones opened. If they come again, Meng Ping, tell them to contact us. Okay, Zhang Chen said. Yes, I miss them, Xiao Zhao said. Meng Ping said, yes, I will tell them if I see them again. They then talked about Chen Qiang and Li Yong, as well as Mr. Tan, and Meng Ping couldn't help but sigh. Meng Ping told them, "You don't know. In fact, just a few days before June 23, Ganzi and I went to see Mr. Han. Mr. Han reminded us and described to us the terrible scene after the bubble burst. But when this day actually came, I still didn't expect that it would be more terrifying than imagined, and almost no one would be spared. What we see is Hainan, but what we cannot see is the whole country. We don't know how big the impact has been on the whole country because of Hainan. We don't know how many cases like mine there are in the whole country. Mr. Han is right, it's a bubble when destroyed, its power is really no less than an atomic bomb." They chatted like this for more than an hour before they knew it. Li Yang walked in and stood aside for a while. He patted Zhang Chen on the shoulder and said to him, "Mr. Zhang, you continue, I will go out to smoke another cigarette." Zhang Chen said yes. Meng Ping looked at his back as he went out and asked Zhang Chen, "Who is this friend?" Zhang Chen told him that he was a friend of the owner of their Nanjing specialty store. Zhang Chen laughed and told Meng Ping that your room might not have been the one where Si Duxiu lived, but that of him. He was sure it was here. Stayed. Meng Ping also laughed and said, "This guy has such a high emotional intelligence." Wu Zaiwai didn't understand. He asked, "Lao Meng, he just came in for a moment, how could you tell that he has high emotional intelligence?" Meng Ping said that if you are in prison, you can make the warden a friend. How can you do it if you don't have high emotional intelligence? Do you think that in an environment like ours, anyone can do it, not just friends? My old boss came to see me, and he was also in the reception room. Everyone else nodded. Meng Ping said, "But from the moment he came in and left, it was obvious that he could do it, and it was not without reason." "Xiao Wu, you should learn from it." "What to study?" Wu Zaiwai asked puzzledly. "It's obviously almost time. Look what he said when he came in. He said, 'I'll go out for a cigarette.' He just told you that I'll give you 10 more minutes. If you have anything important to say, just say it quickly. This makes a lot of people comfortable." Wu Kai scratched his head and said, "This is going around, and only you, Lao Meng, can understand it. If he told me, I would definitely think, just go and smoke. Are you out of cigarettes? You tell me if there is no cigarette." Everyone laughed. The door opened, and Li Yang walked in. This time, the warden and the prison guard who brought Meng Ping came with him. It seemed that Meng Ping was right, and the last meeting time was over. Meng Ping took Zhang Xiangbei from Xiao Zhao's hand and hugged him. He lifted him up and gave it back to Xiao Zhao. Then he walked to the prison guard and stretched out his hands. The prison guard cuffed the handcuffs back and took him with him. He followed Meng Ping out. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 683. At noon that day, Gao Zhepeng and Su Li made sure to invite Zhang Chen and the others to dinner. Gao Zhepeng said that he had already made a reservation at the revolving palace of the Jinling Hotel not far from Wangfu Street. For Zhang Chen and his generation, the Jinling Hotel was once the most popular place. It's an unattainable dream. When it was built in 1983, it had 37 floors and 110 meters. It was the tallest building in the country. The revolving palace on the 36th floor was also the first high-rise revolving restaurant in the country. Too many people visited it every day. So much so that you had to buy a ticket to enter, and a ticket cost up to 5 yuan. At that time, the salary of an ordinary worker was only more than 30 yuan a month. The Jinling Hotel has attracted the attention of the world's media since its construction. Japan's Asahi Shimbun reported, whether the Jinling Hotel can succeed will be a touchstone for the modernization of China's entire hotel industry. Media from the United Kingdom, Canada, and other countries, as well as Hong Kong and Macau, also made extensive reports on the construction and opening of the Jinling Hotel. As one of the landmark buildings in Nanjing and even China, in the early 1980s, the exposure rate of the Jinling Hotel in overseas media was estimated to be second only to Tiananmen Square in Beijing. Even now in 1993, the Jinling Hotel is still the tallest building in Nanjing. Zhang Chen and Gao Zhepeng said that they wanted to have dinner together, but we should be the ones to invite them. We want to thank you and Li Yang. When Li Yang heard this, he pointed at Gao Zhepeng and Su Li and said, "Let them invite them, keep yours, and you can treat us to dinner when I take my partner to Hangzhou." "Do you have a partner?" Su Li asked. Looking for it, Li Yang said, "What a big deal. Are you looking for a partner?" Boom, boom, Gao Zhepeng shouted. When you ran over, the partner had all turned upside down, left. Everyone laughed. While eating, Zhang Chen and Li Yang said, "You can help me take care of my friend's place. You can arrange whatever you want." Xiao Zhao also said, "Yes, as long as we can get out as soon as possible, everything else doesn't matter." Su Li and Xiao Zhao said, "Don't worry, I will keep an eye on the little pole." He turned around and asked Li Yang again, "Ah, seeing?" Li Yang nodded. After eating, he parted ways with Gao Zhepeng, Su Li, and Li Yang, and sat in the car. Zhang Chen flipped through the map and suddenly shouted, "How about we go directly to Shanghai?" I looked at the map. Getting to Shanghai from here is almost the same as going to Hangzhou. I was supposed to go to Shanghai to check out the venue in the next 2 days, so why not check it out now and make arrangements as soon as we get back? If we leave now, we can arrive in Shanghai in the evening. We will visit several shopping malls in the evening and tomorrow morning, and then return to Hangzhou. It is less than 200 kilometers from Shanghai to Hangzhou. Xiao Zhao and He Hongmei have never been to Shanghai. After hearing what Zhang Chen said, they immediately became interested and agreed. Not to mention Wu Ziyawei, Wei Venfang is also in Shanghai now. The group of people immediately decided to go to Shanghai. On the way out of the city, Xiao Zhao saw a duck blood vermicelli shop on the street and asked Wu Ziyawei to stop the car. Wu Ziyawei stopped and Xiao Zhao ran out of the car. Zhang Chen shouted, "What are you doing? You are hungry just after eating already?" Xiao Zhao was speechless. She walked into the store and walked out empty-handed after a while. Zhang Chen suddenly realized that she was looking for Qianfang. "How long has Lao Meng been in Nanjing?" "Qianfang and the others are preparing to open, but they haven't opened so soon," Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao said, and Xiao Zhao also remembered it and smiled sheepishly. Along the way, several people were thinking about Meng Ping. They all felt that fate was too cruel and could play tricks on people. Especially Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao thought that it had only been a few months since their Yan'an Road store opened. The friends who came to help Hainan were all high-spirited, but in the blink of an eye, none of them could be found, and those who could be found were already in prison. Xiao Zhao thought about it and was about to cry again, so he quickly turned his head towards the window. The car left Nanjing and passed Jiangning. When it was approaching Jurong, Zhang Chen suddenly shouted, "Mistake." Xiao Zhao and He Hongmei both looked at him and asked him what was wrong. "Across from Lohukiao prison, have you noticed that there is a row of storefronts being renovated?" Zhang Chen asked them. "Yeah, what's wrong?" He Hongmei asked. "I can guarantee that Qianfang's shop should be there. Think about it, why did Qianfang and the others open a duck blood vermicelli shop? They opened this shop opposite the prison. First, they can understand the situation in the prison. Second, they can understand the situation in the prison. The guards in the prison and so on will go there to eat, so they can build a good relationship and have room to move around." As Zhang Chen said, Xiao Zhao and He Hongmei's eyes lit up. They also thought it was too possible. Moreover, Lao Meng said that they didn't know what kind of connection they had established so that they could go in and see him. Maybe the landlord of the house had connections with the prison. Qian Fang and the others only rented his house knowing that they had this connection. In this way, they would even know which day Lao Meng was transferred to prison, and go in to see him as soon as he was transferred to prison. Otherwise, no matter how talented a few outsiders are, how can they find connections so quickly? Zhang Chen said that Xiao Zhao and He Hongmei thought it was too reasonable. Xiao Zhao complained, "Why did you only think of it now? You should have thought of it earlier. We can find him when we get out of prison." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Don't worry, as long as Lao Meng doesn't come out, they won't leave. We will definitely be able to find them next time we come." Hearing what Zhang Chen said, Xiao Zhao also became happy. After returning to Hangzhou, Zhang Chen started busy designing the decoration of the Shanghai shopping mall. The key to the decoration of the shopping mall was props such as hangers and wardrobes. They all needed to be made uniformly in the factory, shipped there, and installed and displayed on site. Just let it go. After Xiao Zhao's younger brothers and sisters returned, He Hongmei went to the Sijiking and Sanbeo factories in the morning to deliver goods, and in the afternoon she went to Stadium Road, where she also had a place in the design center. She took the costume design draft of the movie and ran to Zhang Chen's office and told him, "What should we do?" "Master, the person who made it must start doing this first." Zhang Chen said without raising his head, "Look for Zhao's Higang." He Hongmei said angrily, "Huh, you two, one wants me to find him, and the other wants me to find you." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Of course you have to go to him to do something. I want to do it, but I don't know how to do it. You can either go to Zhao's Hailong, he has great craftsmanship." "You," He Hongmei glared at him. Zhao Jingjing held the list in her hand and walked in to find Zhang Chen to sign. When she saw the drawing in front of He Hongmei, she said "Huh" and asked, "What, our factory is making ancient clothes? It would be great if we could produce in our factory," He Hongmei said angrily. Zhao Jingjing was surprised. She picked up the drawing and looked at it and said, "Aren't they all costumes? What's so difficult about this? Why can't we do it? These are for filming movies. They all have to be made by hand. Who in our factory knows how to sew clothes by hand?" He Hongmei shouted, "No, even this big boss is cheating." Zhao Jingjing looked at her and smiled, "You don't have to look for him, look for me, little sister, I can help you solve it." "What, you have a way?" He Hongmei was surprised, and even Zhang Chen found it strange. "It's not that there is a way, but there is a way," Zhao Jingjing said. "Those retired workers in our factory used to be tailors. When they were young, where were the sewing machines? Didn't all of them sew clothes by hand?" Zhang Chen laughed loudly, and He Hongmei also laughed. Zhang Chen thought to himself that he was really confused. He should have thought of it a long time ago. Didn't Kuning Garment Factory first merge some tailor shops and workshops? Alas, I blame myself. I always thought that these retired workers were a burden, but I didn't expect that they were actually wealth, including Ge Donghai. When do you want it? They will come as soon as I call. There shouldn't be too many people, Zhao Jingjing asked He Hongmei. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Did you see that it takes no effort at all?" He Hongmei knocked on Zhang Chen's desk and said, "Come on, boss, give me a place to work." Zhang Chen thought for a while and said, "In the cutting room on the first floor, half of the cutting beds are empty and will not be used. You can let them work there. They can also cut, by the way. If you think the cutting bed is not long enough, let them. Lao Wan and the others can add a few meters or make another table. Anyway, there is room in the tailoring room. Okay, everything is ready. Now I'm going to flatter you. Come on, tell me what you want to eat, and I'll buy it for you." He Hongmei picked up the stack of drawings and went out with Zhao Jingjing in her arms. Zhao Jingjing was so amused by her that she giggled and even forgot to ask Jiang Chen to sign. He came in with the list and went out with the list. When he walked outside the door, he remembered the signing matter came back again. After Jiang Chen designed the shelves, he went to the Sanbao factory. He had already asked Lao Wan to buy back a lot of wood. In order to reflect and highlight the return to nature of their cotton and linen clothing, Jiang Chen thought that all props would be made of wood. It is made of wood and is ready to be roasted on the fire to give it that fire-roasted feeling. Then use water and a brush to clean the surface, and then apply a layer of tung oil or varnish on the outside to act as a protective layer. The effect is achieved, but the clothes will not be stained. Regarding this, Jiang Chen felt that it was very important to master the temperature when burning wood, and it required trial and error. They found an oil drum, filled it with firewood, poured diesel oil and ignited it, then put the wood on top and burned it, and soon there were traces of fire. Jiang Chen stared at the firewood in the oil drum and suddenly shouted, "Lao Wan, come out with a piece of firewood." Lao Wan took a piece of firewood out of the oil drum. Jiang Chen quickly doused the fire with water. He picked up the piece of firewood and looked at it. He felt that the texture of the charred wood was very beautiful, and he was immediately inspired. He asked Lao Wan to pour diesel oil on the thick wooden board, put the wooden board on the ground with the diesel side facing up, and ignited it with fire. After burning for a while, he put out the fire, and a pattern appeared on the surface of the wood. A layer of black charcoal was rinsed with water and brushed with an iron brush to remove the charcoal dust floating on the surface, and then a layer of tung oil was applied on the outside. Haha, the effect he wanted was completely achieved. A set of props similar to charcoal must have a lot of personality in a large shopping mall with bright lights and colorful colors. Jiang Chen looked at it and laughed proudly. Jiang Chen asked Lao Wan to try it according to his method, and he tried it until 9 in the evening. At around o'clock, Lao Wan was able to fully control the heat. Tomorrow, he would be able to lead people to start making large quantities of such wooden strips and boards. Jiang Chen asked him to find 2 carpenters to use such materials to make the clothes hanger he designed. When Jiang Chen returned to the factory after taking a shower, Xiao Zhao came back and took stock in the distribution center with Zheng Huiyang's men. As soon as Jiang Chen walked in, he heard Wu Ziyawai shouting in the yard outside. "Mr. Jiang, Mr. Jiang! Come out quickly!" Jiang Chen thought something had happened, walked to the door, and couldn't help shouting, "Me!" Then he turned back and shouted, "Xiao Zhao, come quickly!" He then ran outside and saw Lu Ligan standing next to Wu Ziyawai. "Thank you Wang Maliang for your monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. At Zhengguang Ion Exchange Resin Jiuping, the pole you were waiting for is back, take it away." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 684. The police car drove into Xiuying Pier, cut in front of the motorcade waiting in line to cross the sea, and quickly boarded the ferry. Even after getting on the ferry and parking the car, they did not get off the car and go to the cabin. Instead, they continued to sit in the car. Lu Ligan looked at them and asked them if they were Wuxi police officers. He regretted getting on the bus in front of them, but they didn't. Looking at the license plate, I can't stop thinking about it now. No wonder when he went downstairs he always thought they were taking him to some police station, but he didn't expect that they were driving directly to the pier and had to cross the sea. The 4 police officers always ignored him. When Lu Ligan asked them what he had committed, they ignored him and looked at each other without speaking. However, their attitude toward Lu Ligan improved significantly. One of them, he also lit a cigarette and handed it to Lu Ligan, who took it and started smoking. The ship docked at Haiyan Pier, and they disembarked. When they passed through Haiyan town, they did not stop. Instead, they continued forward until they reached Suwen County, and then stopped at the entrance of a Gizhu hotel on the side of the highway. When Lu Ligan saw the word Gizhu, His heart trembled. Could it be that these people who came to him were related to Chen Qiang and Li Yong? What happened to them? There was a car parked in the open space in front of the hotel. The license plate had been removed with the red paper that read 100 Years of Love. The police car drove over and parked next to the car. The two in the front got out of the car and the two in the back also urged Lu Ligan to get out of the car. Everyone in the car got out of the car. When they heard a car arriving outside, two people walked out of the restaurant. When Lu Ligan saw it, he cursed, He saw Zhang Shaoan, the owner of Hongyu Building, and his brother-in-law walking out of the restaurant. Mr. Zhang looked at Lu Ligan and laughed. The four police officers also laughed. Three of them began to take off their clothes. Zhang Shaoan asked them, "Is Mr. Lu dishonest?" One of them smiled and said, "Quite honest." Mr. Zhang asked Lu Ligan again, "Mr. Lu, look at our flower drum opera performers. Are their acting skills good?" Lu Ligan understood and scolded with a smile, "You are so brave, you even dare to pretend to be a police officer." "Hey, I'm not pretending to be a police officer. Did you see that this is a real police officer, my cousin?" Zhang Shaoan pointed at the only one of the four who was still wearing a police uniform. The three of them just arrived in Haikan because it was too cold and they didn't bring any clothes. They just borrowed my cousin's clothes to wear. And this, did you see it? It's a real police car. It's just my cousin. He didn't go to Haikan to perform a mission, but you are here to pick up your friend across the sea for me. Otherwise, how can we win? How can they bring you out? Zhang Shaoan added. Lu Ligan said, "Okay, thank you, thank you. But how did you know that Ajeng and the others were going to find me? Among the people who went to your company, there are people from us. They want to find you. They have been planning for several days. I can't explain this in a few sentences. I will tell you slowly later." Zhang Shaoan asked his cousin if he wanted to have something to eat before leaving. His cousin said that we should hurry on first, fearing that they would chase us. We would try to get to Guangzhou as soon as possible. Only when we arrive in Guangzhou would we be safe. Zhang Shaoan said yes, and Lao Xie just called me to remind me. Zhang Shaoan had predicted that they would not stay here for a long time, and had asked the hotel to prepare a lot of meals for them to eat on the way. Zhang Shaoan asked his brother-in-law to return to the hotel, take out the packed food, put 2 bags in the police car, and there is a bag for Lu Lipol. Zhang Shaoan and his cousin said, "Mr. Lu will take my car." His cousin said, "Yes, we will follow you. If someone catches up with us, don't stop, just keep walking." Lu Ligan sat on Zhang Shaoan's car and left immediately. Zhang Shaoan's brother-in-law drove the car and drove all the way. Zhang Shaoan and Lu Ligan were sitting in the back. Lu Ligan was really hungry. While eating his food, he listened to Zhang Shaoan tell him everything. Only then did Lu Ligan fully understand the whole process of the matter. It turned out that it was a security guard from the nightclub under Mr. Xie, a fellow countryman, who was hanging out with Ajeng and the others. Mr. Xie knew that Ajeng and the others made trouble for Zhang Shaoan last time, so he was more cautious and simply let them, a fellow countryman, hang out with them. However, if you have any news, come and tell him. Lu Ligan often went to Mr. Xie's place. The security guard knew Lu Ligan, but Lu Ligan did not know him. He heard Ajeng and the others discussing how to deal with Lu Ligan. They wanted to deal with Lu Ligan, but in fact it was not just in order to get money for sand and cement, that was just a pretext to take Lu Ligan away from the company. They still didn't know what was going on with Lu Ligan's relationship with Beijing. They were still a little wary of their company, so they decided to take him away from the company as soon as possible. However, they didn't expect that Cao Qiaoqing would come out to stop him, and Wei Venfang scared Ajeng again. Their purpose of taking away Lu Ligan was actually to force Lu Ligan to sign some documents and take the opportunity to get the Jinghai International Financial Center project. Although the current real estate in Haikan is in a mess, the people behind Ajeng know that this Jinghai Center is different from other projects. In this project, the land payment has been paid in full, and tens of millions have been invested in it. There is no debt and it is very clean. The only project payment that has not yet been settled is the boss of the construction company. That guy was also scared away by them. When the fellow heard that Ajeng and the others were planning this, he ran over and told Mr. Xie. Mr. Xie called Zhang Shaoan. After discussing it, they felt that they would definitely not be able to fight them in Haikan, and Lu Li, as long as the pole remains in Haikan, it will always be in the tiger's mouth. The only way is to get Lu Ligan out of the island first. Mr. Xie and Zhang Shaoan discussed this until the end. Lu Ligan was being targeted, but he didn't know it yet. Mr. Xie and the others couldn't tell him to leave, for fear that once those people knew that Lu Ligan was planning to leave the island, they would take action in advance and capture him. Zhang Shao went to find his cousin and borrowed a car from the work unit. They took the people to Haiyan, planning to stay one night in Haiyan and go to the island the next day. The fellow called Mr. Xie and told Mr. Xie that Ajeng would take them to Lu Ligan today. Mr. Xie and Zhang Shaoan understood that if they went, there would definitely be no good results, so they decided to ask his cousin to take them to the island immediately. Go find Lu Ligan. Zhang Shaoan, his brother-in-law, and Ajeng all knew each other. It was not convenient for them to go to the island, and the two parties could not meet in Haiyan, so they made an appointment to meet at the Gizhu Hotel near Suwen, where they had eaten when they came. The cousin and the others got off the ship at Jiuying port and went straight to Lu Ligan's company. At that time, Ajeng had already left, and they took Lu Ligan out smoothly. While they were still on the boat, the fellow called Mr. Xie and said that Ajeng and the others were looking for Lu Ligan throughout Haikan. They should soon know that it was not Lu Ligan who was taken away by the police in Haikan. He would probably be found. Island chase. Mr. Xie asked Zhang Shaoan and the others not to stop on the way, but to go directly to Guangzhou. Guangzhou was so big that they would not be able to find him even if they tried to chase him. Only in this way would they be safe. It's really thrilling. If it weren't for Lao Xie's scheming, you wouldn't know where you are now, Zhang Chen asked Lu Ligan. Yes, it's probably not in the sea, but on Wazi Mountain. Anyway, I won't sign anything you ask me to sign, Lu Ligan said. Then you humming arrived in Liaoyang and didn't know how to call to make sure you were safe? If Wu Ziyawai and the others hadn't arrived that day, I would have almost gone to Haikan, Zhang Chen scolded. No matter how dare you call, we haven't returned to Liaoyang at all. Mr. Zhang's cousin has returned to Liaoyang, and we are all in Chenzhou. Mr. Zhang can only talk to Lao Xie on the phone every day to understand the situation in Haikan. Other phone numbers, no one dares to fight, Lu Ligan said. We have returned to the mainland, what are we still afraid of? Zhang Chen was puzzled. I'm afraid that some of them have seen the license plate and found Liaoyang according to the license plate. Lao Xie said that they have been looking for us until last week, and then gave up. We just returned to Liaoyang, and I stayed at Mr. Zhang's place. I came back after 2 days, everyone is back anyway, and I still make phone calls. Why did they stop looking after they found it last week? Zhang Chen asked curiously. Have you given up? It's useless to find it. It's impossible for them to get to that building, Lu Ligan said. Why? You still don't know that a lot of our company's money comes from Sun Ho's branch. Last week, the branch went to Haikan and sealed this building. Ajeng and the others will do whatever they want to do. If you can't come out, you can make some small moves down there and let them rob the branch in Beijing. They don't have the courage. After all, they can't get anything out. Seal yourself up. It doesn't count. The major shareholder of our company is Sun Ho and the others, not their superior branch. It is justifiable for the branch to seize it. After they come to seize it, this large sum of money will be considered settled. Then they can buy dealing with bad debts, everyone is relieved. Zhang Chen nodded and understood. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan talked about their visit to see Mengping. Lu Ligan said, "It's not surprising. I called them all that morning but couldn't get through. I knew Jianfang and the others must have returned to the mainland with Mengping. Well, Mengping's biggest gain in Hainan is that he gained them." Zhang Chen nodded, feeling that this made sense. Speaking of Mr. Tan, Qiang, and Li Yong, Lu Ligan didn't know what happened to them. He just felt that since Qiang and Li Yong hadn't come back for so long, things in Guizhou must not be that simple. The most troublesome thing now is, they have no channel to contact them at all. Xiao Zhao and Wu Ziyawai went to the street to buy daily necessities for Lu Ligan and came back. They had already decorated Lu Ligan's room. Xiao Zhao asked Lu Ligan, "Are you hungry and do you want to go out to eat?" Lu Ligan laughed, "It's better for Xiao Zhao. I was on the train and didn't even eat dinner. Look at this guy. He grabbed me and asked me why. He didn't ask me if I was hungry." Zhang Chen glared at him and asked, "Are you hungry?" "I'm hungry. Boss Zhang, please invite me, a poor man, to eat seafood at Longxiang Bridge. I want to feast on it," Lu Ligan shouted. "Thank you Lao Chantang for the tip. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 685. Zhang Chen got up in the morning and went to the factory. Lu Ligan was no longer there. Lao Wan and his people were burning wood. Zhang Chen asked Lao Wan. Lao Wan told Zhang Chen that Lu Ligan seemed to be following Wu Ziyawai's car to the stadium. Zhang Chen looked at the wood burned by Lao Wan and the others. The effect was gratifying. He picked up the pieces he tested last night and saw that the tung oil they had applied on them was completely dry today. Zhang Chen rubbed it vigorously and there was no trace of charcoal ash. "Rub it down and can't help but nod." Zhang Chen walked back to the office and looked at his watch. It was already past 9 o'clock. He picked up the phone and called Li Yang. The sleepy voice on the phone was still the same, but when he heard it was Zhang Chen, the voice finally changed. After he sobered up a little, Zhang Chen told him that he would please ask his friend in the third prison to tell Mengping that Lu Ligan was back and that he was fine and safe. "The horse will fight." Li Yang and Zhang Chen said that Zhang Chen was wondering whether this guy would call right away, but he couldn't confirm it. He said thank you and was about to hang up the phone. "Which one are you talking about? Which one is back?" Li Yang's voice seemed to be a little more sober. His sobriety was like the speed of an electric fan, which could be adjusted step by step. The more sober voice also gave Zhang Chen more confidence. Zhang Chen told him that his name was Lu. After setting up the pole, Li Yang still said, "Just hit the horse." The level of sobriety seems to have been turned down a notch again. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Chen shook his head and couldn't help laughing. He heard the sound of cars outside and stood up. Just as he was about to go out and take a look, Lu Ligan walked in from the outside. As soon as he entered the door, he said, "Zhang Chen, this place on Stadium Road is nice, but it's a pity." Zhang Chen didn't understand and asked, "What's the pity?" Lu Ligan sat down opposite Zhang Chen and told Zhang Chen that I looked at that place and it could be turned into a sports goods market. "My house has been rented out, and I signed a 3-year agreement," Zhang Chen said. "It has nothing to do with that house. It's fine if the house stays there to create an image." "Don't touch the house," Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen said. "Come on, give me paper and pen." Zhang Chen gave him a pen and paper. Lu Lipol explained to Zhang Chen while drawing. He said, "Look, just like this, demolish the stands here, and the stadium and the garden next to it." Wu Ziyawai told me, "It turns out to be a golf course, so demolish the garden and see if this place is big enough to be a market." "This is still an excellent location." "Excellent location?" Zhang Chen asked. "Yes," Lu Ligan continued, "the right side is your dynamic zone, the left side is the row of shops in the stadium, and the opposite side is the row of shops in the stadium. Look, change the gate of your current factory into the gate of the market. Market, isn't it a great location? And here, I've seen it. With the 3 floors you built, the restaurant on the first floor can also be integrated into the market. This will make the market larger. The second and third floors will not be used as they will still be dormitories. In addition, close to the factory building inside, build a staircase to go up and down. See if a market will come out soon. Lu Ligan was gushing as soon as he talked about it. Zhang Chen had never thought about this before. Now that he said it, a market could really be created here, but then where can we open the doors of our restaurant and factory? Huanchen North Road, the gate of this factory doesn't matter. What's the difference between opening on Stadium Road and Huanchen North Road? There is also a restaurant in the Metasequoia forest behind. Just find a place. Think about it, a market, how much can you collect in rent alone in a year? Moreover, when it comes to the sporting goods market, the location of other places cannot compete with yours. Zhang Chen feels that Lu Ligan's idea is valid. If a sports goods market is established here, it can indeed bring a lot of benefits to him. However, if the lighted stadium and the garden next to it are demolished, now every day those people who come here at night, where do you want them to go? Why do you care about them? Do they give you a penny? You are not a neighborhood committee, so you have an obligation to provide them with event venues, Lu Ligan said. Not only them, but people from our own factory will also play here, Zhang Chen said. The task of your workers is to work, not to play ball. The more they work, the more money they make. If they like playing ball so much and make money, they can go to the nearby gymnasium to rent a venue to play. Zhang Chen thought about it and shook his head. He said, in fact, our place is also a center now. Many young people in Hangzhou, especially young men, know about our half-acre farm through there, and they will not go there. Buying clothes on Yan'an Road, young people now know about 2.5 acres of land, and this lighted stadium plays a big role. This is good for our brand image and corporate image. Zhang Chen felt that he finally found a great reason. You're stupid. Lu Ligan looked at him and didn't curse the word force at the end, but he was obviously relieved, feeling that such a good plan of his was rejected by this fool. Zhang Chen looked at him and smiled, and asked, damn it, are you still thinking about real estate? Lu Ligan nodded and said honestly, yes, people who have done real estate probably can't do other businesses. Think about it, that house costs hundreds of thousands. It's so enjoyable to sell it like you do. There are dozens and hundreds of clothes, how can I afford to carry them? Zhang Chen scolded, I think selling clothes is pretty good. Also, don't forget that this is Hangzhou, not Haikan. The houses in Hangzhou are not as expensive as you said. How about hundreds of thousands for a house, just tens of thousands? That building has dozens and tens of thousands in total. If it can be sold out in one day, it will be $1 million business. This will be enjoyable. Zhang Chen looked at Lu Ligan and felt that this guy was completely poisoned by real estate. Haikan still hadn't suffered enough. Zhang Chen said, I think this Hang Cheng is still different from Haikan. You are still realistic. A little. Lu Ligan shook his head and said, I think what Mr. Han said is right. As long as the real estate carriage is let go, no one can stop it. Now from a policy perspective, it has been let go. If there is no movement in Hangzhou, it is the best opportunity. I think you are confused by that Hong Kong man. He is really capable. If Meng Ping and I had gone to ask him for advice earlier, we might still have time to escape. Lu Ligan said, this is the most annoying thing about this guy. He is awesome and coaxes, and he likes to hold the, if you don't ask him for advice, he will never take the initiative to say anything to you. Damn, sometimes when I think about it, I want to go back to Haikan and strangle him to death. Zhang Chen laughed. After laughing, Zhang Chen asked Lu Ligan, In my company, take a look at what you think about and what you want to do. You can choose it yourself. Lu Ligan thought for a while and said, give me something. What? Zhang Chen asked. Give me the bicycle at the door. I want to ride it and wander around Hangzhou for a few days first. Are you going to wash the building again? Wash the city, I'll wash Hangzhou again. Zhang Chen took out his bicycle keys from his pocket and threw them to him. He then opened his bag, took out $1 of money and threw it over. Lu Ligan picked up the money and threw it back, saying, no money is needed. You're humming running outside, why don't you want to eat? Zhang Chen scolded. I still have money for food. When I left Hunan, I took some pocket money from Mr. Zhang. How much does it cost to eat? Besides, you can get food here, on Stadium Road and Yan'an Road. I'll ask you for it after you spend it. When Lu Ligan said this, Zhang Chen had no choice but to put the money back into his bag. Lu Ligan stood up, picked up the bicycle key on the table, and told Zhang Chen that I was going out. Zhang Chen looked at his back and felt that it was not easy to take back this guy's heart. It would be better to let him wander around first and let him see for himself how many people would buy houses in Hangzhou now. Selling the house would make him sober. He and Xiao Zhao had also thought about buying a house some time ago and had looked for a house, but they still knew more about this than he did. On the contrary, Zhang Chen thought about the sporting goods market that Lu Ligan mentioned. It was impossible to say that he was not moved. They came from the market themselves. They knew that now, there is a market in Hangzhou. Demand, this is much more reliable than any real estate. But he still couldn't make up his mind to ask Zhang Chen to turn off the lights in the stadium. He saw that now, he played 2 points in a row because he didn't have to go home to deliver food, and he played in the evening. He was really a completely different person on and off the court. If he turns off the lights in the stadium, of course no one will say anything. In other words, at most he will say in private that he is greedy for money. But in this way, he is actually extinguishing the fire in the hearts of many people. Zhang Chen felt that he could not make this determination. Hongmei came to the factory to deliver goods. After delivering the goods, Zhang Chen took her car to Stadium Road. Before leaving, Zhang Chen called Wu Ziyai over and asked him to buy a bicycle for himself. Old car, new car. New car, you go buy a giant. Giant bicycles have just entered the mainland. It's racing-type bicycles with adjustable speed, although expensive, are every young person's dream. Okay, Mr. Zhang is going to start burning buns too, Wu Ziyai said with a smile. As soon as Zhang Chen walked into the office, Zhao Jingjing ran over hurriedly and shouted, Mr. Zhang, I want to tell you something. What's the matter? Zhang Chen asked. Those brats in Children's Lane want to compete with us, Zhao Jingjing said. You mean Zhonghui? Zhao Jingjing nodded. There are many people coming and going in their lighted stadium, but there is a group of people who stand out. They wear uniform orange vests with the word Zhonghui printed on them. They occupy half of the stadium every night. It is said that they are in the area of Children's Lane. The basketball team they organize themselves is quite arrogant here. When they come and see someone playing on the court, if they can't get their turn, they have to compete with others. There are various competition methods, whether it is shooting, dribbling or jumping, you can choose. If you lose, you will give up this half of the court. It is said that you have never lost. Why did they come to compete with us? Zhang Chen asked curiously. When they came, our people were all at work, and we wouldn't compete with them for the venue. I'm not convinced. Someone came early that day, competed with 2 points, and lost to 2 points. Then he came early specially, competed several times, and lost. It's time to compare it to a formal game. A bunch of young men are competing with a group of women in their 40s. Yes, but Mr. Zhang, please don't look down on our people. We are heroes. Who didn't know who played basketball back then? Don't have too many men like this come to our door to compete with us. Okay, I'm not looking down on you, Zhang Chen said, then let's compare with them. By the way, you can give them 2 cents and buy 2 sets of clothes for each of us. Don't make us look like a motley crew. Great, Zhao Jingjing shouted, Mr. Zhang, do you want to buy the sneakers? Buy sneakers and socks, don't they look good? We are armed to the teeth, but we are still afraid of them. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 686. Zhao Jingjing immediately went to the workshop to count the sizes, and then went to the store in front of the factory to buy jerseys and shorts, as well as shoes and socks. Zhang Chen said that he should be armed to the teeth. Zhao Jingjing considered splitting the difference between them. After all, they were older. I also bought knee pads for them. After buying the clothes, Zhao Jingjing asked Zhang Chen what words were printed on the chest. Zhang Chen told her that of course it was Kuning. They were Zhonghui and we were Kuning, which was very good and meant that we were equally matched. Zhao Jingjing left and came back after a while. She told Zhang Chen that by 2 cents, they meant to print half an acre of land. Why? They don't want to recreate the glory of the past, Zhang Chen asked. What a glory! Zhao Jingjing shook her head and said, they said that Kuning broke their hearts. What is there to miss? They are now the people of half an acre of field. If they want to fight, it also represents half an acre of field. Beat. Zhang Chen felt a little moved as he listened. At the same time, he knew that the time had come. Even the words on the gate could be changed. This place, from the inside to the outside, was already part of half an acre of land. Zhang Chen said okay, then it will be up to them. Zhao Jingjing walked to the design center and asked He Hongmei and the others, you all can write and draw. Do any of you know how to print? What words are printed? He Hongmei asked. The basketball team's jerseys and pants have the factory name and number printed on them. Go find Mr. Zhang, He Hongmei said. General Manager Zhang Seal. He can print, but there are people who can print better than him, He Hongmei said. Let's go, I'll go with you. He Hongmei took Zhao Jingjing back to Zhang Chen's office. The two of them told him about the matter. Zhang Chen said yes, you go find me cardboard and I will engrave it. Zhang Chen didn't do too much of this kind of thing in school before. Even that year, 3 great men passed away one after another, and more than 500 people in the school wore black sleeves with XXXXX immortal. It was he who brought other classmates with him. Printed. Are you really going to do it yourself? He Hongmei asked. What's the point? Isn't it simple? Do you know that the paint you use is old-fashioned, will scab, and will fall off in pieces after washing? People now print with water slurry and glue. Have you forgotten how the printing factory does it? You know how? Then you can do the printing, and I can only use the paint you mentioned. Besides, how about hiring a printing factory to print such a small number of clothes? Look for old Tang, He Hongmei said. Zhang Chen laughed, yes, how could I forget this professional? Zhang Chen detained old Tang. After a while, old Tang called back. Zhang Chen asked him to help him with something, and old Tang said yes, I will come right away. Only 5 or 6 minutes later, before He Hongmei and Zhao Jingjing left, old Tang arrived. Zhang Chen asked strangely, you flew here so fast? He came on a hot wheel. Old Tang smiled, how dare I not kill him immediately when Mr. Zhang summons him. Lao Tang told Zhang Chen that he had just delivered goods to Yan'an Road. Zhang Chen understood. He told him about printing jerseys and shorts. Old Tang agreed, saying it was a trivial matter. However, he still had a question and couldn't help but ask, "You don't have many men here, and a basketball team? Women can't play basketball," he Hongmei asked. Old Tang was stunned for a moment, then understood and shouted, "It's still a women's basketball team? It's strange, so I'll design it carefully." Old Tang followed Zhao Jingjing out to get clothes. Zhang Chen asked He Hongmei, "How is your handicraft workshop?" "What a bureaucracy. Don't you know it's already started," He Hongmei said. "I haven't seen Lao Wan and the others here." "No, the working class introduced a better place, not in the layoffs, but in the employee canteen. They can work, watch TV and chat at the same time." Zhao Hailong asked him to be responsible for assigning work to these retired workers every day. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Yes, he is the person who is most familiar with the staff restaurant." After He Hongmei left, Zhang Chen took out paper and pen to design the factory gate. He wanted to use the wood they had successfully tested to make a charcoal effect gate. After thinking about it, he restrained the urge. It would be too much to put such a door here. Passers-by passing by the front door thought they had been burned by fire. Zhang Chen smiled, gave up on his idea, and designed a door. He put the design draft in his bag and gave it to Lao Wan when he went back. "This matter is not urgent. They will wait for them to get all the props from Shanghai. Come out and put it away and install it later, after the National Day." In the evening, He Hongmei sent Zhang Chen, Xiao Zhao and Zhang back to Sanbeo to the north. They saw Lu Ligan and Wu Zayawai sitting at the door of the office from a distance. When they saw their car coming, they waved to them. The three people hugged Zhang Xiangbei and walked over to take a look. Xiao Zhao and He Hongmei screamed. They saw a basin of fried snails and a basin of salted edamame on a folding square table. They quickly put Zhang Xiangbei into the stroller and sat down. Lu Ligan pulled the stroller to him, dipped his chopsticks in beer, and fed Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei frowned after licking it and was about to cry. He Hongmei scolded, "Are you crazy?" Lu Ligan said, "How can this man not know how to drink? How old is he? He's still a man. No matter how old he is, he has all the requirements for a man. When his father was this old, he already knew how to drink. If you don't believe me, ask him." He Hongmei looked at Zhang Chen and asked, "Did you know when his father was this old?" Lu Ligan pointed at himself with his thumb, "This is Dad, I want you to ask me. Do you know what happened when you were your age? His father still has a father. It must have been his father who fed his father alcohol. His father told him. Of course his father knew." This list of dads confused He Hongmei and glared at Lu Ligan. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao didn't care what they were eating and drinking, and let them bicker. Zhao Zhigang, Lao Wan and others came over and grabbed a handful of edamame and stood on the edge to eat it. Zhang Chen asked them to sit down and drink. They said they had something to do and stood for a while and walked away. After a while, they came back and grabbed another handful of edamame. Standing on the edge and eating, Zhang Chen felt in a daze that the scene was like returning to Jiaofang in Yongcheng. Unfortunately, there were no camphor trees and tallow trees here, but there were peach trees. Wu Zayawai stood up and walked into the office. He pushed a new bicycle out and showed it to them. He Hongmei shouted, "Cool." Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan said that you can ride this one and mine should return to its original owner. Lu Ligan shook his head quickly. No, he had to ride it and take care of it. He was afraid that it would be borrowed by friends in the society. It was too verbose. He Hongmei shouted, "How about we change cars, I ride this one, and you drive the car." Lu Ligan still said no, yours takes up too much space. You have to find a place to park when you get to a place. It's too troublesome and you can't enter the alley. I've been wandering around in the alley all day. Xiao Zhao remembered it and told them that when they first arrived in Hangzhou, Zhang Chen locked his bicycle with a chain on the electric pole in front of the Hunky Hotel. As a result, The front and rear tires were stolen, leaving only a tripod. Everyone laughed to death after hearing this. No, 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 I need to digest it. Hongmei stood up and went to ride the giant. She got on the car and rode towards the outside of the factory. Xiao Zhao shouted, "Why are you out so late?" Hongmei raised a hand and waved, and the people and cars rushed out of the door. After a while, Xiao Zhao also stood up. She said that she also had to work for a while, and she pushed the stroller to the distribution center. Zhang Chen raised his glass, clinked it with Lu Ligan and Wu Zayawai, and the three of them drank it down in one gulp. Wu Zayawai picked up the bottle and poured wine for them. Most of the glass was gone. The beer was freezing in the kitchen refrigerator. He stood up and ran to get it. Zhang Chen asked Lu Ligan, how was it after spending the whole day traveling around? Lu Ligan said that the more he walked around, the more he felt that Hangzhou was really a good place. By the way, Zhang Chen, do you know if there are any factories like your Kuning garment factory in Hangzhou? They are in the city, but they are dying. Of. Zhang Chen immediately thought of one. He said there was one, and it was the Yiming food factory that sold the Yan'an Road sales department to us. Lu Ligan was immediately interested. He asked Zhang Chen to tell him what was going on in the factory, and Zhang Chen told him. I turned to Ma Cheng Road today. It's a really good place, Lu Ligan said. Zhang Chen turned to look outside the factory gate. More than half an hour had passed and Hongmei hadn't come back yet. Zhang Chen and Wu Zayawai said, go and have a look. I don't know where this crazy girl went. Wu Zayawai stood up and rode his bicycle out. How many places have you traveled today? Zhang Chen asked Lu Ligan. Hangcheng is not a big city. I have visited almost all of them, Lu Ligan said. Zhang Chen, tell me again about the situation when you bought their store. The more detailed the better. Zhang Chen told Lu Ligan their entire transaction process, including the factory director Fan Qishun and his son Xiao Fan, including the other 100,000 yuan. Can you introduce the Xiao Fan to me? Lu Ligan said. Okay, he is a friend of a Yang who supplies us leather goods. How about you go to Stadium Road with me tomorrow and I ask a Yang to call him over? Lu Ligan said yes and asked, can you lend me 100,000 yuan? Zhang Chen glared at him, and Lu Ligan smiled and said, okay, here, give me 100,000. What are you going to do? Doing real estate. 100,000 yuan is not enough for real estate or land. Are you going to build a house in the suburbs? Zhang Chen shouted, you don't have a fever, do you? No, I've thought about it all, Lu Ligan said seriously. Do you still remember the Niajiang building in Haikan? People can do it with 3,000 yuan, but I can't do it with 100,000 yuan. That was in Haikan and this is in Hangcheng. There is no comparison, Zhang Chen said. Same, it all depends on man-made efforts. Okay, tell me if it's not enough. If I can't finish it after I use it, I won't do it. That means my judgment is wrong, Lu Li said. 100,000 is the limit. If I can't finish it after I finish it, I will come back to you. Honestly. When I go to work, real estate has no chance for me in this life, so I accept my fate. Lu Ligan raised his cup and said to Zhang Chen, come on, let's go. Zhang Chen raised his glass and clinked it with him, and the two of them drank it in one gulp. Thank you Daypen and CAI for your monthly votes. Thank you for reading every day, ranking third from top to bottom, Dal Tin Soldier, and On the Shore 131 for your continued rewards. Thank you for all the votes and reading. I wish you a nice weekend. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 687. At around 8 o'clock in the morning the next day, Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan rode their bicycles to the Kuning garment factory on Stadium Road. At the door, they unexpectedly bumped into Ge Donghai, who was coming out of it. Zhang Chen quickly got off the car and asked, Master Ge, Are you here to find me? Ge Donghai quickly said, it's not Mr. Zhang. I came to see them train in the morning. After the training, I chatted for a while in the restaurant with the brothers and sisters who came back to the factory to help with the work. Now I'm going to take the bus home. Zhang Chen looked at Ge Donghai, who was wearing an old sports suit. The word Kuning was also printed on the sports suit, but it had faded. Zhang Chen suddenly understood and asked, Master Ge, you used to be their coach. Ge Donghai smiled, just fooling around. Zhang Chen quickly said, that won't work, then I still need to hire you back as a coach. It doesn't matter whether you want to hire me or not. If you don't ask me to come, you still have to drag me here every day. She said, I'm not Sister Lin, I still have to go out and walk around. Zhang Chen laughed. It seemed that Sister Lin was already a member of their family. The couple would ask Sister Lin to come out no matter what happened. But back then, Ge Donghai and Liang Fen were in their prime at Kuning Garment Factory. One was the coach of the factory's basketball team and the other was the main center. It was so normal that the two of them ended up together in life. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan said goodbye to Ge Donghai at the door. The two of them continued walking inside, crossed the basketball court, and entered the third floor of the factory. Ayang was already waiting for them here. This was also Lu Ligan's request. Let Zhang Chen call Ayang over first. He wants to get to know Xiao Fan and Fan Jiangguo from the side. After Zhang Chen introduced them to each other, Lu Ligan asked Ayang, does Fan Jiangguo have a job now? Ayang said that he used to work in an umbrella factory, but that factory also stopped working quickly. He stopped going to work long ago, and he didn't get paid even if he did. Lu Ligan asked Ayang again, what is Fan Jiangguo's character like? Ayang said that he is still a nice person, but he is a bit fancy. As soon as Ayang said that, Zhang Chen laughed and looked at Lu Ligan, who also laughed, knowing that what Zhang Chen wanted to say was that you two have the same chemistry. Lu Ligan and Ayang said, that's okay. Anyone who loves flowers can't be bad at all. Ayang was surprised, why? Think about it, Hua people are thinking about women all day long, so they don't have time to do bad things, Lu Ligan said, and Ayang laughed. Please help me call him, Lu Ligan said to Ayang. Ayang said yes. He called Fan Jiangguo's home phone number, and it was Fan Jiangguo who answered the phone. Ayang asked Fan Jiangguo to go to Stadium Road immediately. There is a stadium next to the provincial stadium and behind the dynamic zone. You know, I know, is it half an acre of land? Fan Jiangguo asked. Ayang said yes, you go all the way to the third floor of this building and go to Mr. Zhang's office. Fan Jiangguo said yes, I will come right away. Zhang Chen chatted with the two of them. He walked to the financial room next door and asked Zhao Jingjing, have they come to train in the morning now? Zhao Jingjing said yes and came at 6 o'clock. She said she would not train because she was afraid that by then, she would not be able to run down the field. Is Ge Donghai their coach? Zhang Chen asked. Yes, how do you know? Zhao Jingjing asked doubtfully, you are here so early in the morning. When I came here, I met him at the door. He was about to go back. Zhang Chen said, by the way, if you buy clothes, only for the athletes and not the coaches? Then there will be a lot of athletes around. The coach wears all new clothes, but the coach only wears old clothes. People won't scold our factory, is this too stingy? Zhao Jingjing smiled and said, okay, then I'll buy it for him right away. Zhao Jingjing stood up and thought about it, and asked Zhang Chen, does anyone else among us want to buy it? Who? Zhang Chen asked. Zhao Jingjing pointed to Accountant Li opposite and said to Zhang Chen, he is our referee. Zhang Chen looked at Accountant Li and shouted, ouch, I really can't tell that Accountant Li still has the skill. Accountant Li chuckled. Zhao Jingjing said that as soon as he arrived at the court, Mao was serious and selfless. After 2 points off the court, they all wanted to eat him. Zhang Chen laughed and said, yes, people like Accountant Li are needed to be the referee that day, otherwise, people will say that we can't win because we don't rely on small tricks to win. Yes, Accountant Li agrees. What about the clothes? Zhao Jingjing asked. Of course it has to be matched. Do you still want this referee to play in his own old man's underpants? Zhang Chen asked, and Zhao Jingjing and Accountant Li both laughed. By the way, tell the canteen again that we will prepare milk and meat buns for them for breakfast every day, Zhang Chen told Zhao Jingjing. Zhang Chen walked back to his office. Lu Ligan and Yang were already chatting lively. The office was filled with smoke, and the ashtray was already half full of cigarette butts. The two of them were talking about the customs of Hangzhou. And each district's people are different. When Zhang Chen entered, he heard Yang say that local people in Hangzhou, no matter how far away they are, like to go to the west of the city, but don't like to go to the east. Why? Lu Ligan asked. Because I walked to the east of the city, I felt that there are more people from Xiaoshan and Shaoxing, and people from Hangzhou don't think highly of the people from these two places, Yang said. The economy is not very good right now, Zhang Chen said. There's nothing we can do about it. The people here in the east of the city always speak with a Xiaoshan accent. The old-fashioned Hangzhou people just can't stand it. They would rather run to Gongshu than to Jianghan. Lu Ligan kept nodding. He thought that this was very important if he wanted to build a house and sell it. If this was the case, how could the houses in the west of Hangzhou be sold better than those in the east, and the prices would be higher than those in the city? Dongui. The three of them sat and chatted for a while. Fan Jiangguo arrived. After introducing each other, they sat down. Lu Ligan and Fan Jiangguo chatted for a few words. Lu Ligan suddenly asked, how about you come to work at my place? Fan Jiangguo said, okay, what company? There is no company yet, but there will be one soon, Lu Ligan said. Where do you work? Fan Jiangguo asked. There's no place to work now, so you just follow me every day, Lu Ligan said. By the way, do you have a bicycle? Yes, Fan Jiangguo nodded. Lu Ligan said, that's fine. If you follow me on your bicycle, it's considered work. Fan Jiangguo was a little confused. Zhang Chen quickly said, if you need it, I still have an office here that can be used immediately. Lu Ligan shook his head and said, we don't need an office now. He looked at Fan Jiangguo and said, if you are willing, you can start working from today, and your monthly salary will be 500 yuan. How much did you say? Fan Jiangguo thought he heard wrongly. 500, how about it? Lu Ligan asked, and Fan Jiangguo was shocked. At that time, workers in ordinary units had just had their wages adjusted once in the first half of the year, and they all got it in 1 month, which was just over 200. Fan Jiangguo, his father, Fan Qishun, worked at Yiming Food Factory. Factory director, it only costs 301 yuan a month. This month is 500 yuan. What kind of job is that? Fan Jiangguo looked at Yang, and Yang said, if Boss Lu said 500, then it must be 500. Boss Lu is Boss Zhang's brother, and you are right to follow him. Fan Jiangguo said okay, then Boss Lu. Let's call him Mr. Lu, Lu Ligan said. Okay, then Mr. Lu, what should I do now? Fan Jiangguo asked. Are you familiar with Yiming Food Factory? Lu Ligan asked. Fan Jiangguo nodded, as familiar as my family. Our first thing is to go to Yiming Food Factory, Lu Ligan said. What to do? Don't worry, we are doing good things. We are just going to see how to make Yiming Food Factory prosperous. I know that the director of the factory is your father. Let's help your father turn Yiming Food Factory into a prosperous place when we start our business. How about letting the workers below smile crookedly while receiving bonuses every month? As Lu Ligan said, Fan Jiangguo, Yang, and even Zhang Chen were confused. They didn't know what Lu Ligan wanted to do. Wasn't he going to be a real estate company? Why was he going to a food factory to help others with their business? Fan Jiangguo was not a fool. He immediately became suspicious, wondering if this guy was here to cause trouble. But he is Mr. Zhang's friend. Mr. Zhang's strength is here. I have never heard of him. He even brought his friends in, and Mr. Zhang seems to trust this guy very much. Fan Jiangguo felt that some things needed to be clarified first. He said, "How much will it cost them?" Yiming doesn't have any money. The money from selling the sales department last time was left in the account and can only be used to pay wages. Yes, everyone is watching, anyone who dares to touch that money will have their skin peeled off by the people below. Lu Ligan laughed and said, Fan Jiangguo, it seems you are not a fool. Do you think I know that they have money from selling a house in their account and are going to use it? Fan Jiangguo chuckled. Don't worry, we are here just to help. I promise not to ask for a penny from them, nor to take a penny of their salary. Lu Ligan said, by the way, I want to remind you that starting from today, now that you have followed me, this Ming Food Factory, no matter how good its business is, you cannot touch a penny. Can you do it? Fan Jiangguo said yes. Lu Ligan said something again, which shocked everyone in the office. He and Fan Jiangguo said, as long as you increase the business of Yiming Food Factory, I will also give you a bonus. Fan Jiangguo and Yang were completely confused. What kind of trick is this? Helping others, and even helping others who are cheating on them, even if they are learning from L forward, is that not how they learn it? Do you understand? Lu Ligan stood up and asked Fan Jiangguo. Although Fan Jiangguo was still confused, he nodded and explained. I understand, let's leave now and go to work at Yiming Food Factory. Okay. Fan Jiangguo also stood up. He said to Yang and Zhang Chen, this is a meat bun. Go to the dog's mouth yourself. Zhang Chen and Yang laughed, feeling that Fan Jiangguo's metaphor was too vivid. Watching the two of them go out, Yang asked Zhang Chen, what is your friend doing? What is he doing? Zhang Chen shook his head. He really didn't understand, but he knew that Lu Ligan must have his reasons for doing this. Whatever this guy did, his efforts would not be in vain. Thank you for your monthly ticket. Thanks for all the reading and votes. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 688. After Lu Ligan and Fan Jiangguo went out, they never came back. In the afternoon, Lu Ligan called Zhang Chen and told Zhang Chen that this was the number of Yiming Food Factory. If you need anything to see him, just call this number. Zhang Chen understood that he had taken root there. Old Tang came in with a design draft and said to Zhang Chen, Mr. Zhang, please review it. If there is no problem, I will print it when I get back. Zhang Chen took it over and took a look at it, and couldn't help but laugh. He saw that in front of the design of Lao Tang were the words half an acre of field. Above the three words, there was a Peking opera mask of Mu Guiying, a female general of the Yang family. On the back, the large number is not printed directly, but there is a hollow phoenix inside each number. Not bad, very beautiful. He is a professional after all. Zhang Chen nodded in approval. Then I'll just seal it like this. Okay. By the way, how much does this job cost? You go to Zhao Jingjing to settle the bill, Zhang Chen and Lao Tang said. Old Tang stared at him. Mr. Zhang, are you scolding me or treating me as an outsider? I'm not from half an acre of land. It can't be in vain. Old Tang waved his hand, meaning to stop talking about this matter. He was about to leave, but then he sat down again and asked Zhang Chen, why, I heard that this time it was a group of young men and a gang of a competition for middle-aged women. Zhang Chen is right. Old Tang laughed loudly. It's interesting. This competition is interesting. By the way, Mr. Zhang, This alone isn't exciting. I want some bonuses. Mr. Zhang, how about I sponsor 1,000 yuan bonus? If you win, give it to him, old Tang said. You also like basketball? Zhang Chen asked. I don't like it, I never watch it, but I want to watch it this time. I just think it's so fun, and these women are so amazing, old Tang laughed. Zhang Chen also laughed and said okay. Then I'll go talk to cashier Zhao and ask her to inform the team members and encourage the team members on both sides. Old Tang smiled and went out. When old Tang said this, he reminded Zhang Chen that he felt that there might be a lot of people coming that day. Although it was a match between two amateur teams, the men beat the women, and the women were still able to beat each other as a group. Damn it, this game will still attract people. On that day, Lao Wan and his maintenance team will be transferred over to help maintain order. Zhang Chen stood up and was about to go to the design center. He Hongmei walked in and said to Zhang Chen, Master, let me help you catch someone. Zhang Chen looked at her, wondering what she was talking about. He Hongmei shouted towards the door, come in quickly, what are you afraid of, dare to do what you want. Someone came in from outside the door. Zhang Chen looked and saw that it was Ji Donghai and Liang Fen's daughter Ji Ling. Ji Ling's face was flushed and she stood there at a loss. Zhang Chen looked at He Hongmei and wondered what she was doing. He Hongmei said, I helped you catch a junior sister. I just went to the store over there and saw that she was not looking at the store seriously. Ji Ling said anxiously, Mr. Zhang, at this time, there are no customers in the store. I will, Mr. Zhang, I will definitely not dare to do it next time. Zhang Chen was confused by them, and he didn't know what He Hongmei was up to. Even if Ji Ling made some mistake in the store, she should have taken her to Xiaozhou. Why did she bring her here to scare this little girl? When this happened, he said to Ji Ling. It's okay, Ji Ling, tell me carefully, what were you doing at that time? Hua Ji Ling's voice was as soft as a mosquito. What? Paint, Mr. Zhang, next time I. Zhang Chen quickly stopped her and glared at He Hongmei complainingly, blaming her for making too much fuss. Zhang Chen said, it's okay. I also like to draw when I have nothing to do. Why don't you show me what you drew? Show it to Mr. Zhang, He Hongmei said with a straight face. Ji Ling trembled, took out a notebook from behind, and handed it to Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen saw that it was a notebook bound with white paper. Zhang Chen opened it and looked at it, and his eyes lit up. He saw that there were paintings of figures inside, all of which were girls. They were very skillfully painted, especially the clothes they were wearing, which were very beautiful. Zhang Chen looked through it again and found that behind each figure painting, there were different paintings of clothing. They were just clothes, without people. Zhang Chen raised his head and asked Ji Ling, did you draw these yourself? Ji Ling nodded. Did you copy it from a magazine? No, it's all me. Ji Ling stammered. He Hongmei couldn't help it any longer and burst into laughter. She hugged Ji Ling and said, sit down quickly, little sister. When I have nothing to do, I also like to draw. There is nothing wrong with drawing. No one will scold you. I will lead you. I came here because I saw that you drew so well, so I asked you to show your drawings to Mr. Zhang to see if he would accept you as a junior sister. Ji Ling looked at He Hongmei, who smiled at her, and then at Zhang Chen, who also smiled at her. Then Ji Ling took a long breath and started to laugh too. He Hongmei said, Master, she didn't copy these paintings. She drew them after reading novels. These are the characters in Xuemili's novels. The latter ones were designed by herself. She felt that if they wore these clothes will look better, aren't they? Zhang Chen kept nodding and said, awesome, indeed awesome. Ji Ling, have you ever studied painting? Ji Ling shook her head and said, I haven't learned anything before. I just liked drawing since I was a child. I drew on comic strips when I was a child, and then I drew on my own. Zhang Chen understood, isn't this the female version of himself? How about it, master, are you qualified to be a junior sister, he Hongmei asked. Zhang Chen nodded quickly, qualified. Then why don't you call sister Xiaoxiao? Zhang Chen came to his senses, immediately picked up the phone, dialed Xiaoxiao's office, and told Xiaoxiao that on the second floor over there, arrange for another person to go to Xiaowan. Ji Ling can't go to work at your place. Before Zhang Chen finished speaking, Ji Ling's face turned pale. She cried anxiously and shouted, Mr. Zhang, don't fire me, I will be scolded to death by my parents. Zhang Chen and He Hongmei were both stunned. He Hongmei smiled and said, Fool, Mr. Zhang is not firing you. He is going to transfer you to the design center here as a designer. What, you don't want to? When Ji Ling heard this, she burst into laughter and nodded quickly. Lu Ligan and Fan Jiangguo arrived at Yiming Food Factory. Fan Jiangguo took Lu Ligan into Fan Kaiming's office, met with Fan Kaiming first, and then took Lu Ligan to a dark and shabby conference room next door and asked him to wait here, he will go and talk to his dad first. Lu Ligan agreed, and Fan Jiangguo walked back to Fan Kaiming's office and told him that from today on, he would work for Mr. Lu, with a monthly salary of 500 yuan. Fan Kaiming was also shocked, 500 yuan, which is higher than my salary. What ability do you have to deserve this salary? What kind of company is this? Why did you not tell me yesterday that you are going to work today? It was a Yang who introduced me. Mr. Lu was a friend of Mr. Zhang from the store on Yan'an Road. Hearing what his son said, Fan Kaiming felt that it was a bit reliable. The boss Zhang last time was introduced by a Yang, and the thing was done. It was obvious that the boss Zhang was quite capable. If this person and Zhang the boss is a friend, probably not a leather bag company. Where is your company? Fan Kaiming asked. Fan Jiangguo didn't dare to tell his father that our company has nothing to do now. It's just the two of us. He said to Fan Kaiming, it's just that, the dynamic zone on the road to the stadium, next to the provincial gymnasium, do you know? I've seen it, what's wrong? Fan Kaiming asked. That house and the factory behind it belong to Mr. Zhang. Mr. Lu just came to Hangzhou from Hainan a few days ago. Our company is now in Mr. Zhang's company. Fan Kaiming was relieved when his son said that their company was in Zhang's head office. Then what does your company do? Fan Kaiming asked. Fan Jiangguo scratched his head and said, well, didn't I just go there today? I don't know very well. Or should I let Mr. Lu tell you himself? Fan Kaiming said yes. Fan Jiangguo walked to the next door and called Lu Ligan over. After Lu Ligan sat down, he opened his bag and took out 6 press cards from the bag and showed them to Fan Kaiming. Fan Kaiming read them. They were from Hainan Daily to Hainan Special Economic Zone Daily and Haikan Evening News. There are a total of 6 news organizations, and the people on the 6 press cards are all named Lu Ligan. Fan Kaiming was immediately in awe. This one reporter is amazing. Who are the 6 reporters? How could he know? In Haikan, everyone joked that if a coconut fell, it could hit 3 reporters. Journalists were still a little bit in the mainland at that time. Deterrent. Lu Ligan kept these press cards in his carry-on bag. He originally just wanted to keep them to remind himself to remember the days when he washed the building every day, and not to be light-hearted. Unexpectedly, the only thing I brought back from Haikan on the last night was these 6 press cards, and I didn't expect that they would still come in handy today. For him and Meng Ping, Haikan was just a dream. The dream was broken. He only earned 6 press cards. Meng Ping was a little better than him. He earned Qian Fang and the other 4 people who were devoted to him, but at the same time, he was better than him. He was miserable, and he also earned 2 years in prison. Lu Ligan and Fan Kaiming said that they were journalists and business consultants. What official, Mr. Lu? Fan Kaiming asked. Business Consulting Officer Lu Ligan said, our job is actually semi-public welfare. We go to every unit, especially those units with operating difficulties, to provide various consultations, that is, to serve as consultants and help them. They improve their business conditions. Fan Kaiming didn't know what this business consultation meant, but since he was an official, it sounded very formal. Isn't Hainan a special zone? Anyone knows about the things in the special zone. Aren't they all a little more foreign style than Hangzhou? However, he heard Lu, the tone of Li Pang seems a bit like those Wenzhou people who come to sell door to door. They talk about one thing after another, but in the end they all want money. What you are talking about, according to my understanding, is that you act as a consultant for us, and then we give you money, Fan Kishan asked, thinking that this must be why he needed to get his son. No, Director Fan, you understood it correctly before, but you understood it incorrectly later. I said our work is semi-public welfare because we do not charge money for our consulting work. If I were to charge your factory $1, that's all a mistake. If you don't charge money, what are you trying to do? Fan Kishan was surprised. In this way, the one who started this project is Hainan China Institutional Reform Research Institute. Our purpose is to use you as a case of how a factory like this can turn a profit with our help. Then, we will take this case, it is the entire process, written into articles, which is why we journalists need to participate. These articles will eventually be reported to leaders for reference when formulating policies and decisions. Xiao Fan is my assistant. Lu Ligan was talking casually. There is indeed such a research institute on Haidian Island in Haikan, but that research institute is similar to Yiming Food Factory. He is dying, so how can he have the ability to do projects? Lu Ligan and they have no relationship at all. I just saw it when I went to Baishamen and thought that the name has a Chinese character. Fan Kishan sounded reliable. Sure enough, Fan Kishan felt it was reasonable after hearing what Lu Ligan said. It turned out to be a matter of the state. They were here to conduct pilot projects and write articles. In the end, it was for the leaders. Of course, they would not charge money for matters of the state. Since they did not need to spend money, then you can do whatever you want. Fan Kishan nodded, he made it clear, Mr. Lu, hi, what should I call you? Let's call him Mr. Lu. We are doing business activities now, so it is Mr. Lu. When the time comes to write an article, I will be reporter Lu Ligan said with a smile. Okay, I understand, Mr. Lu, how can our factory cooperate with you? As you can see, the conditions of our factory are very simple. Lu Ligan smiled and said, the conditions in the places we went to were very primitive at first. Later, many new factories were built. I believe that the same will be the case here with factory manager Fan. Okay, let me lend you some good advice. How can we cooperate? We don't need anything else. We come to the factory every day, as long as there is a place where we can sit and write, Lu Ligan said. You want to work, right? How about I give you the conference room where you just sat? Fan Kishan asked. Great, thank you, Director Fan, Lu Ligan said. Thank you to Laughing and Running Y for the tip. Thank you Shifang Xian for your monthly ticket. Thank you for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 689. For the rest of the day, Fan Jiangguo accompanied Lu Ligan around Yiming Food Factory. Outside the square-meter pastry workshop, along a path between the office building and the pastry workshop, there is a door at the end. When you enter the store, you will suddenly see a large courtyard inside. The yard is filled with heavyweight jars. 9 out of 10 of these jars are broken. The ones that are not broken are filled with years of rainwater. The water is already smelly. It was originally used to cover the jars. On top of the tank, covers made of moso bamboo and ruo leaves were scattered everywhere. These covers were all black and rotten. In the open space between the tanks, on the cracked concrete floor, even grass grew knee-high. Fan Jiangguo and Lu Ligan said that this place used to make soy sauce, but the sales of soy sauce were not good and it was discontinued for more than 10 years. Passing through this open space, there are 3 old houses, which look like temples and ancestral halls. There is a patio and a major hall. After passing through the 3 patios and the 3 major halls, there is another large open space, which should be the original back garden. Later it was dug out and cement was poured. There are concrete pillars standing in the open space. Between the cement pillars, there are steel cables. These steel cables are now rusty. When you touch them with your hands, the rusty spots will fall off. Come down. Fan Jiangguo and Lu Ligan said that this place was originally used for drying ham. Do they still make ham here? Lu Li asked curiously. Yes, Yiming ham. Later, everyone started eating Jinhua ham. Who would buy Hangcheng ham, so we stopped. Lu Ligan smiled and said, they make quite a few products here. Fan Jiangguo said, of course, when I was a kid, everything was cooked here. We didn't eat too much at home. The houses we just walked through used to make sauced duck and sauced meat. Not only these. I also made pickles, I did everything, and then there was only one pastry workshop left, and now I can't even make pastries anymore. I just want you to stop doing it, otherwise I will have no chance, Lu Ligan thought. He followed Fan Jiangguo around like this, feeling secretly happy. He felt like he had found a treasure. This place was bigger than what Zhang Chen told him last night. It was no wonder that all Zhang Chen saw was an office building. As for the pastry-making workshop in the front, Zhang Chen had never been in the large area in the back. They returned to the pastry workshop in front. This pastry workshop can be said to be a factory. It is divided into 7 or 8 workshops to produce several major categories of products. But now, most of them are parked there, with only a dozen people still working around 2 shiny long chopping boards. Fan Jiangguo and Lu Ligan said that they had no choice but to produce and sell the products, so they had to have one worker work 10 days a month, half a day every day, so that everyone could still work. Fan Jiangguo took a little of each of the products being produced in the workshop and the finished products piled in the warehouse. After a while, a person returned to the conference room with a large plastic bag in his hand. Lu Ligan took these. Everything was taken out and piled on the conference table, filling half of the table. They went to the supply and marketing department again, and Lu Ligan found that their main sales now relied on some supply and marketing cooperatives and consignment stores near Hangzhou. Their daily sales were only a few hundred yuan. But for the products of such a factory, Lu Ligan discovered that they were actually sold in the top 10 department stores in Hangzhou. Although the monthly sales were only a few dozen to a few hundred yuan, the salesman shook his head and said, sorry, it's too embarrassing to go to the mall to check out. Our sales can't even keep up with others at a fraction of that. Another supply and salesman said, the most annoying thing is Shangmao. I went to the supply and marketing building to check out, and the finance department told me that you don't need to take any checks. I swept through the nook and cranny, and you also got the payment. Everyone laughed. Lu Ligan was surprised. In a factory like this, your products are just wasting away on the counter, so why haven't you been kicked out? Fan Jiangguo told him that they had an old relationship for decades. Yiming was also an old brand in Hangzhou, so everyone should show some mercy, otherwise Mao would be embarrassed. This will be much easier to handle, Lu Ligan said. What's easy to do, Fan Jiangguo asked. Do you know that for all products, opening up sales is the most difficult and costly thing? We still have sales, but our products are not good. In this way, we only need to change our products, and this matter will be much easier to handle. The market is in other people's hands, and it's up to them to decide whether to give it to you or not. This product is in your own hands, and how you change it is all your own internal business. Lu Ligan said, and Fan Jiangguo seemed to understand. Do you think it is more difficult to change others, or to change yourself? Lu Ligan asked, and then immediately answered, of course it is yourself, it depends on how to change. After saying this, Lu Ligan sat there, staring at the pile of things on the table in a daze. Fan Jiangguo sat aside for a while. He was really bored, so he stood up, walked to the door, and looked back at Lu Ligan. He didn't mean to object, so he simply walked out. He went to the workshop and bragged with the older sisters-in-law. There were two older sisters-in-law who were still charming. Fan Jiangguo liked to make semi-vegetarian and semi-vegetarian jokes with them the most, and he could take the opportunity to rub some off. At 5 o'clock, the workers were getting ready to get off work. Fan Jiangguo walked back to the conference room and found Lu Ligan still sitting there blankly. Fan Jiangguo picked up the two plastic bags and put away everything on the table. What are you doing? Lu Ligan asked. Do you want it? If you want it, take it away. If you don't want to put it away, leave it here at night. There will be mice, Fan Jiangguo said. Yes, Lu Ligan slammed the table and shouted, startling Fan Jiangguo. What's up? Fan Jiangguo asked. Good stuff is here, Lu Ligan smiled. Take it away, I'll take all these things, Lu Ligan and Fan Jiangguo said. Go to the finance department and calculate how much it will cost. What kind of money do you need for this little thing? Is it enough? If not, I will get some more for you. Fan Jiangguo looked unconcerned. What did I tell you? Lu Ligan asked. I told you that when I come here, I won't take a penny, of course, including a penny for things. Can I take things from this factory so casually? No wonder everyone didn't care when they took it, but when they came in, they didn't care when they came in. Okay, I'll just go check out. Fan Jiangguo's head was spinning. Lu Ligan was still unfinished and continued, when I came in, every tael of flour and every drop of oil cost money. He saw Fan Jiangguo walking to the door carrying two large bags of things and asked, what are you going to do? Fan Jiangguo asked strangely, don't you want me to go to the finance department to settle the accounts? You didn't take any money, so what's the bill? I still have this little money. These things I want to take away are of course public funds. What do you want to pay? Lu Ligan took out his wallet from his hip pocket and threw it over. Fan Jiangguo was holding the bag in both hands and had no hands to catch it. He could only bump it with his shoulder and let the wallet fall in front of him. He put the bag down. On the ground, he picked up his wallet, then picked up his bag and went out. Fan Jiangguo arrived at the finance department and said he wanted to settle accounts. The accountant and cashier were surprised. The accountant shouted, "Oh, the sun is coming out from the west today." The cashier shouted, take it. I'm tired of doing the math for this little thing, and I have to give you a receipt. Don't bother me, eldest sister, just let me do the math. If you don't count, I can't pay the bill here. As Fan Jiangguo spoke, he told them Lu Ligan's rhetoric. The accountant shouted, don't say it. What your friend said really makes sense. What friend? He's my boss. Your boss? The accountant asked curiously. Your boss is here with you. He doesn't take advantage of you and doesn't make money. What are you doing here? How do I know what we are here for? Fan Jiangguo said angrily, but if you think about it, it's pretty good to be able to get paid for whatever you do. Look at Lu Ligan, who even has to settle accounts for such a small thing. It doesn't look like that. People who rely on wages. Fan Jiangguo went back with the 2 bags of things and handed the wallet and receipt to Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan took a look at the receipt and shouted, "So many things, only more than 30 yuan. That's the X-factory price," Fan Jiangguo said. X-factory price? That's the price that comes out of our factory. Fan Jiangguo nodded. Lu Ligan stood up, lifted the 2 bags, tested the weight, and told Fan Jiangguo that the flour, oil, and sugar came in for almost the same amount. "Here, we have no value created, so we just pawn it." A porter. Lu Ligan carried 2 bags of things and walked to the bicycle. He put one bag in the bicycle basket in front and the other bag in the school bag rack in the back, and rode to Zhang Chen's place. He walked into Zhang Chen's office and put down 2 bags of things. When Zhang Chen saw that it was Yiming's pastry, he stood up and shouted, "Are there any sesame candy and mung bean cake?" "Their sesame candy and mung bean cake are particularly good." "Eat." He looked at the 2 big bags and exclaimed, "Oh, the king's enthusiasm for fighting the autumn wind has returned. Today, he came back with so many dirty things." You, I paid for it," Lu Ligan cursed. "Do you think there is any reason for this? So many things only cost more than 30 yuan. Yes, delicious food is the most important thing." Zhang Chen had already found sesame candy and mung bean cake, shaking them in his hand. Lu Ligang snatched them back and cursed, "Think about it for me first, and then eat it after you finish thinking about it." "What are you thinking about?" "Outer packaging, advertising slogans." As Lu Ligan spoke, he threw the sesame candy and mung bean cake that he had snatched from Zhang Chen back into the bag. Zhang Chen picked them out again and said to Lu Ligan, "While eating, I was thinking, damn, you haven't even tasted other people's food, what are you thinking about? If it's just a piece of shit, what's the use of thinking of a flower?" When Lu Ligan heard that it made sense, he also found a small bag of sesame candy and a small bag of mung bean cake from the bag, opened it and ate it. After taking a bite of the mung bean cake, he looked at Zhang Chen, and Zhang Chen asked, "Is it delicious, isn't it delicious?" Lu Lipol nodded. "This is an old brand, but it doesn't mean it has no reason at all," Zhang Chen said. After eating mung bean cake and sesame candy, Zhang Chen asked Lu Ligan, "What did you think of?" "I only thought of half a sentence, and there was only half a sentence left." "I thought of rats can't forget," Lu Ligan said. Zhang Chen stared at the 2 bags of things, picked out a few items from the bags, and said to Lu Ligan, "It's simple, don't Hangzhou people like to hang everything from the West Lake? It's normal, and they will buy these things. Most of them are tourists, so." Zhang Chen counted the things he took out, and there were 7. He took out 3 more things, and asked Lu Ligan if he saw the 10 treasures of the West Lake. Lu Ligan's eyes lit up and he shouted, "Haha, okay, top 10 treasures of the West Lake, rats can't forget. Now that we have the advertising slogan, it's not that we can't forget it, but that rats can't forget it. The outer packaging can also correspond to the 10 scenes of West Lake," Zhang Chen said. "Yes, the advertising slogan is fun, and the food is delicious, too, and the packaging is good looking, fun, and delicious, it's all humming complete," Lu Ligan shouted. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 690. Wait, Pol, let me figure it out first," Zhang Chen shouted. "You told me that you were going to do real estate, and now, you are not going to do real estate anymore, you are going to do food, right? Why do I make food? Of course I do real estate. Okay, then I want to ask you this morning. You asked that little Fan to come and you gave him a high salary. You wanted to get close to Fan Kishun through him, right? Right. You approached Fan Kishun because you wanted the land of Yiming Food Factory, right? Right. Then you are getting close now. If you want to buy land, you can just buy it directly. Why are you doing so many tricks? Buy it directly, where's the money? How much does it cost? Zhang Chen asked. Wait, 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 Zhang Chen, let's figure one thing out first. Do you want to say next, how much does it cost to buy Yiming Food Factory? Do you have it here, right? Lu Ligan asked. How much money will the Yiming Food Factory cost? I think a few million is about the same. You said I don't have hundreds or hundreds of millions, but I do have a few million. I think that broken factory can cost as much as 8 million. I'm tight, I can put it all together in a moment, Zhang Chen said. Okay, this is what I want to tell you. If you spend all your own money on real estate, then your money will still not be enough. Also, I don't want to. After what happened in Heiken, I at least understand a few things. The first thing is that the income from real estate is indeed huge. When things go smoothly, it is comparable to a money printing machine. But when it falls, people will die and no one can save it. So, to do this, you can use your own small money to gamble, but you cannot use big money instead, you must mobilize the resources of all parties. Second, it's great to have someone like you who has no interest in real estate at all. Just make your own clothes. Lu Li, lost. No matter what, there is still somewhere to go. There is still a mouthful of hot rice to eat. The biggest mistake Meng Ping and I made in Heiken was that we tied everything together and threw it into the Xinbu Island project. If Meng Ping followed his original path and continued to be a second-rate dealer, he would not. If it would be so miserable, there would probably be a few pieces of land smashed into the hands, but it wouldn't be like leeks, all of them would be cut off in one stroke. As long as one of us can survive, there is still a way to save ourselves, but we are so lucky that we died together. Zhang Chen, let's make an agreement. As long as I, Lu Ligan, am doing real estate, you, Zhang Chen, don't even touch me. You stay far away, okay? This is what I told you about the market. You don't want to do it? I have no reason to convince you. You may be right or wrong, but you just do what you want. I may be right, or I may be wrong. I'll do what I do. We just don't want to die together, okay? Zhang Chen said, yes, I have no interest in real estate at all. It's not that you have no interest in real estate at all, Lu Ligan said, you like to do things and do things well, but you don't have much interest in making money. You will have money when you do things well. Natural rewards. You are not like Meng Ping and I. When we see a stone and smell the smell of copper, we will pick it up and squeeze it hard to see if we can squeeze out the juice. Zhang Chen thought for a moment, laughed, and said, it seems to make some sense. It doesn't make sense, it just means that I know you better than you know yourself. Do you know yourself? You don't have to do it yourself. You know yourself too well, and living is boring. It's just like a robot. People are actually like this. They use rationality to see others, but they see themselves emotionally. For example, haha, for example, many people look at others, this stinky gangster, and plays with women, but when he cheats on himself, he thinks he is in love. Okay, don't glare at me, I know what you want to say, look at me, indeed like a gangster, but every woman and I are in love, ha ha ha. Lu Ligan laughed. After he finished laughing, Zhang Chen said, you've been talking for a long time, but you still haven't mentioned the Yiming Food Factory. Okay, let's go back to Yiming Food Factory. This time, it's different from you. You are buying from one of their sales departments. They can sell it to you right away just like they sell their pastries. Once you sell it, the workers will be paid, and the boss will also. There is nothing to say, and there is nothing to say next time. This time, I want to take care of them all. Then think about it, what will happen to those workers if the factory is sold, and there will be a bunch of retired people behind. We can't say, okay, if we sell it, everyone will divide the money and then find their own way out. If that is the case, of course the workers are willing, and it may actually be the best way, but the authorities don't allow it, and the policy doesn't allow it. The policy doesn't allow it, yes, there are so many people to support, so I have decided that I would rather let you annex Kuning garment factory without paying a penny, and I can't say that I will sell it to you. Although selling it won't make much money, it may be the best way, but the government is willing to find a way out for the workers, and it can't sell it and distribute all the money to you. Why, in fact, the government also knows very well, you people, the money is given to you after dividing it up, spending it all, and finally coming to the government. What will the government do? Where will it get the money to support so many retired workers? So when I want to run Yiming food factory in one pot, I am faced with the problem of finding a way for them. The best way for this factory to find a way is to make it prosperous. Once it is prosperous, it will have its own. There is a way out, no one needs to help him find it. This is what I have to do now. Zhang Chen was told that he was confused and cursed. Damn it, if he was prosperous and his life was better, he wouldn't need to sell this factory to you. I don't want to buy it either. You didn't want to buy it, so why did this place fall from the sky? Hit you on the head. I won't buy it, but it can be replaced, Lu Ligan said with a smile. There are many people who have pursuits, so rich people will have lust. If you think about the whole factory, the hard days are over, and there is hope for the factory. Now, if I trade them with a new factory for that broken factory, will they switch? You want to trade with them for a new factory? With your 100,000 yuan, you can buy a new factory and trade with them. Zhang Chen was surprised. Yes, why is it impossible? It's possible together. There's just a time difference. What's the meaning? You will understand when the time comes. I can't explain it to you now. Also, this is a great idea. I want to let it simmer in my heart for a while. Okay, just let it stew. I don't want to know either. Zhang Chen said he didn't want to know, but couldn't help but ask, if you want to do this, then you should first find a way to build a new factory instead of Yiming Foods factory. This is a systematic project. I don't have money. It's not that I don't have money. I only have 100,000 yuan. I want to give Yiming Food Factory a new factory and get its old factory. This is not enough. I also need to build a house here. Come and sell it. What is the most lacking thing here? Lu Ligan asked. What the hell, you've been talking for a long time, but it's still not money, Zhang Chen scolded. Yes, money can solve most problems, but it cannot solve all problems. If there is one thing, it is enough. You can do it without money. Do you know what it is? Zhang Chen thought for a while, but couldn't figure it out, so he had to ask, what is it? Trust, Lu Ligan said. Trust is only 2 words, but it is not simple. Why do we trust each other? Because there are so many years of foreshadowing. If we only met today, there would be no trust between us. What is the best way to build trust? That is to fight together, just like us and Mengping, because we are fighting together. From 3 paupers to fighting like this, everyone knows the basics. That's right, Zhang Chen said. Are you going to fight with Fan Kishan now? Yes and no, what I'm doing now is different. In Chinese medicine, if a person's constitution is very weak, a good doctor will cure the illness first. Fan Kishan is the damned one now. Even he himself is. As for the position of factory director, I don't know how many more days I can stay. He just trusted me and worked hard for a long time. He was fired or withdrawn. Wasn't my work in vain? Now I just need to straighten him up and let him sit firmly in his position. It's not just that he's sitting securely. His words now, whether in the factory or on top, are no more loud than a fart. Then if I help him make the factory prosperous, he will not only secure his position, but he will probably also become an excellent entrepreneur and a popular figure in reform. At that time, what this guy says will not be bullshit, but one sentence is worth 10,000 words. You said two things. This is the same thing. What's another thing? Zhang Chen asked. Do you still remember when we were kids and went fishing in the river? Lu Ligan said. A few days before we went fishing on Sunday, we would take the bait and go to the place where we were going to fish and spread it for several days in a row. There will be more fish when we go there. This is what I am doing now. If you think about it, I not only helped Yiming Food Factory to develop its business, but also made Fan Kishan a celebrity. In the process, I didn't take any of it. At that time, Fan Kishan and I, what's the relationship? Will Fan Kishan, who sticks to his word and always remembers his source when drinking water, want to do something for me? Will he obey my words? What's more, I have Fan Jiangguo here. He only helps me, not his son, but if I leak out here, his son won't get wet. Cooperate with me, no matter how favorable the terms are, it's justifiable. Because the whole factory saw what I had done for them during this period, and no one had anything to say about cooperating with me. Damn it, you said all that, aren't you just taking a long shot to catch the big fish? Zhang Chen scolded. Lu Ligan was stunned for a moment and said with a smile, yes, you summed it up well in these 6 words. Why didn't I think of it? Did I fall in love? You're not a traitor, I think you're just getting carried away. No, really. I seem to be careless now, but in fact I am walking on thin ice every step of the way. I can't make a mistake. If I make a mistake, this plan will not be completed. Then have you ever thought that if Fan Kishan really becomes the celebrity you mentioned, he might go up and be promoted right away and no longer be in Yiming Food Factory? Zhang Chen asked. That's the least of my worries. If he is promoted, who will be the factory director? It's not the person he promoted. Will that person not listen to him? By that time, I will not only handle Yiming Foods Factory, even its superior Fan Kishan has taken care of it. Zhang Chen thought about it, and it was right.